It's all covered in today's China Truths.
Unless you grew up in the countryside, you would never understand what kind of life elderly people there are living today. You would never imagine how miserable rural elderly life has become. Many old people die alone in their own homes, and no one knows for days. Only when the bodies begin to rot do neighbors finally discover them. I ask you, can this really be considered normal? Some people ask, where are their children? Go and look for yourself. How many young people are still left in today's villages? Almost none. Entire villages are made up of elderly people. Those born in the 1982nd and 1992nd have all gone to other cities to work. They had no choice. Farming income is extremely low. If someone stubbornly stays behind and farms 3 mu of land, they may earn only 3 or 4,000 yuan a year. What can that amount possibly do? They cannot even afford to get sick. Once illness strikes, the whole family simply collapses. In the south, conditions are slightly better, but in the north, the situation is far worse. The little land left behind is practically useless. Those who go to the cities are mostly older migrant workers with no real future. They do the hardest physical labor just to survive. Those with slightly better ability may earn some money and take out loans to buy apartments, but then they must repay mortgages every month. With a monthly salary of only 4 or 5,000 yuan, once the mortgage is paid, nothing remains. Life becomes empty. Those who lack even that ability rent tiny rooms in the city. They dare not rent anything large, only a dozen square meters, sometimes shared with multiple toilets. In a space no bigger than a palm, they can barely take care of themselves. How could they possibly bring their parents to live with them? Many people may not believe this. If you don't, go to the countryside and see for yourself. This is not exaggeration. This is real life. So what do these old men and women eat? What do they wear? Today, many people have fallen into the same trap. In rural Hubei, every household has a small farmhouse that cost hundreds of thousands of yuan to build, yet no one lives there. The doors are shut. The houses stand empty. The atmosphere is eerie. Most of the buildings are already old. Young people have no time to return. They build houses but live in them only a few days each year, usually during the new year. Vast areas of farmland are abandoned. The countryside has become silent. China's economic downturn, urban decline, and the rural reality together form something even more tragic. Rural populations are hollowed out and impoverished. In some places, living conditions are no better than the 1982nd or 1990nd, or even the 1950nd and 1960nd. Over the past 20 years, massive numbers of migrant workers have poured into cities. The elderly left behind have no social security. When they fall ill, they cannot afford treatment. They endure in silence. Analysts believe it is the CCP's system itself that has pushed Chinese people into such hardship. Farmers have been reduced to beggars. Today, I speak for farmers. After investigation, the monthly pension for rural elderly people is only a little over 100 yuan. I am from the countryside myself. When I hear this number, I think of a famous line from a TV drama. Is this money meant to dismiss a beggar? What can 100 yuan a month do? At most, it buys a few dozen jin of rice. That is all. Some people mockingly say the system is well designed. Eat 1 jin of rice a day, 3 liang per meal, perfectly calculated. They say 100 yuan is enough. Is this not treating people like beggars? Have Chinese farmers truly become beggars? Elderly women sell vegetables for 1, 2, or 5 yuan just to survive. I once visited an elderly woman who later became someone I could never forget. I asked her what she ate for lunch. She said she does not eat meat and has not eaten meat for years. Her face was thin and deeply wrinkled. There was only plain rice in her bowl. I do not know what kind of life she is living. I asked about her income. She said it was bad. She lives alone, eats alone, and cannot afford to buy a chicken. She has not eaten chicken for years. If you don't believe this, Go and see Songbai Village in Nanxiang Town, Heng County, Guangxi. People there still live extremely hard lives. There are many mud houses, few income sources, only small plots of land and some trees. Roads are broken. Houses are made of mud bricks. There is barely any infrastructure. The village is old and poor. Our village is full of elderly people. Last month, 3 people passed away. This month, another one died. People under 40 have all left. There are no new children. It has been like this for many years. I don't even know what our village will become in the future. Life now is simply enduring suffering. You earn money alone, but it is never enough for a family to live together. You have no one to help raise children. 30 years ago, the countryside was lively and prosperous. Today, villages are empty and silent. Who caused all of this? Look at the abandoned houses, the deserted land, the blackened rivers. Everything is gone. This is what our countryside has become. In our area, there is a place called Liu Jiabu. In the past, dozens of households lived there. Today, the houses are all abandoned. Even if you build a house there, what is the point? Can you get married? Can you make money? Can you do business or rent it out? Even if you are a billionaire, building a house there is only for show. Most young people have left, leaving only the old, the weak, and the sick. Do not think returning home costs nothing. You need money for seeds, fertilizer, and daily necessities. Shopping is inconvenient. There are no malls, no supermarkets. Children cannot attend school easily. Even visiting parents is difficult. In Hebei, villagers were forced to install natural gas heating under environmental policies. Coal and firewood were banned. Many villagers could not afford gas. Reports of elderly people freezing to death circulated online, but were quickly censored. Natural gas heating costs far more than coal. At current prices, heating a modest house costs thousands or even tens of thousands of yuan per winter, an unbearable burden for farmers. Drones patrol villages day and night. Burning coal leads to fines. Villagers are encouraged to report one another for rewards. Many elderly people have frozen to death in nearby villages. What you are seeing is not an accident, and it is not the result of fate or laziness. It is the outcome of a system that has systematically drained the countryside to feed the cities, then abandoned both when the cost became too high. Rural China was not emptied naturally. It was hollowed out by policy, by forced migration, and by decades of development that treated farmers as disposable fuel. When young people were pushed into cities with no security, no dignity, and no future, the villages were sentenced to a slow death. The elderly left behind were never meant to be protected. They were meant to endure, quietly, until they disappeared. This suffering is not invisible, it is simply ignored. The tragedy of rural China is not just poverty, but isolation, silence, and erasure. Elderly people die alone, not because they have no children, but because the system has torn families apart and made reunion impossible. Villages are not declining, they are being erased from the future. Empty houses, abandoned land, frozen winters, and censored voices all point to the same truth. Survival has become an individual burden, while responsibility has vanished upward. When people cannot afford heat, food, or medical care, yet are punished for trying to survive, suffering is no longer accidental, it is structural. And when even speaking about it is forbidden, the cruelty becomes complete. This is why rural China today feels cold, silent, and hopeless not only because of economic collapse, but because human life itself has been devalued. A society that forces its elderly to freeze, starve, and die unseen has already crossed a moral line. No amount of propaganda, economic data, or urban prosperity can cover this reality. The countryside was once the backbone of the nation. Now it has been reduced to a waiting room for death. If this system continues unchanged, the villages will not recover, they will vanish entirely. And when that happens, history will remember not the slogans, but the silence. What is happening in rural China today is not merely economic hardship, but the slow destruction of an entire way of life. When villages lose their young, their land, their warmth, and even their right to speak, what remains is not development, but abandonment. The elderly who freeze in winter, starve in silence, or die alone at home are not failures of society, they are its victims. This reality was not created overnight, and it cannot be solved with slogans or temporary aid. It is the product of long-term choices that placed growth above people and control above compassion. If this path continues, the countryside will not simply fade away. It will leave behind a permanent scar that no amount of future prosperity can erase. This is the reality of rural China today.
Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. We will keep reporting on the COVID surge in China, so don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell to get the latest videos. And thank you for tuning in.